No matter how many times we've flown this flypast, we always need to make sure that when Her Majesty looks up, we're in exactly the right piece of sky so that we present her aeroplanes in the light they should be presented in.
On the Mall they come.
It's a tremendous honour for anybody in the military to be involved in anything for the royal family, and something so iconic as a Red Arrows flypast for Her Majesty is something I'm never going to forget.
I remember watching Trooping to Colour as a child, so to be part of that is just a fantastic experience, particularly being in this aircraft, the Lancaster bomber.
I think people enjoy flypasts because the noise, the vibration that comes from them engenders many feelings in a lot of different people.
I think it's the sound of the Merlins is the thing that gets the hairs on the back of my neck to stand up. There's no sound like it.
The star of the show is certainly the Lancaster. I'm just the person that puts her in the right bit of sky. And no one's come to see me display the aircraft, everyone's come to watch the Lancaster.
I think we're like flypast down central London because you don't usually get jets flying down central London. The Red Arrows traditionally come to Cyprus at this time of year generally to chase the better weather, actually, because the World Cup's quite intense.
Majority of the year during training, the team wears its green suit. It only gets its red suit when it's qualified to display in front of the public. 2 months of intensive training. At the end of that, we're allowed to put the red suits on, which is our ticket to go and display in front of the public. It's a very proud day for everybody. The Red Arrows fly the BAE Systems Hawk T1. It's our classic jet trainer. It's been in service since the mid-70s.
Right.
It's like a nifty little sports car. It's very simple, very basic, but it handles brilliantly and it's perfect for our needs on the team.
This particular Lancaster was built in 1945. This is a B Mark I Lancaster. She's one of only 2 remaining airworthy Lancasters in the world.
The aeroplane that I'm going to be flying is the Mark IX Spitfire. It's an aircraft that actually flew on D-Day itself. She's painted in 126 squadron colours with stripes so that they could be distinguished from enemy aircraft, so that our gunners on the ground shot at the enemy and not at friendly aircraft.
Us as aircrew are really just the final cog to get, what's essentially a group of 70-year-old aircraft flying in the air. So it's quite some achievement, really, considering how old and how fragile they are as well.
The skills that we utilise here are totally different, really, than the modern aircraft. None of the parts on these aircraft are manufactured anymore, so we rely on old stock, war stock, that sometimes becomes available, or we have to go right back to the original manufacturer's drawings and have things manufactured from scratch. So we're back to grassroots engineering.
This is heavy controls. The controls directly link to the control surfaces. So the best analogy I can give is perhaps driving a car without power steering. So she's heavy to fly, she's very noisy, she vibrates, but I wouldn't change anything for flying this.
Flying a Spitfire is every boy's dream, and it is the most fabulous aeroplane to fly. It's light throughout its speed range, whether it's going slow or fast. It's incredibly manoeuvrable. At the time, it was cutting edge. It was a thoroughbred fighter, and added to that, it's a legendary aircraft. So you're always aware that the ghosts of hundreds, if not thousands, of pilots are always watching you to make sure that you do it right.
The Hawk that we fly has been modified to carry smoke, so without a team of dedicated engineers to fill up the tanks, we wouldn't be the Red Arrows. It just wouldn't be the show that it is.
The red and blue smoke is purely a liquid dye that we mix with diesel. White smoke is just diesel on its own, and this burns in the exhaust of the engine.
Smoke on, go.
The smoke's controlled inside the cockpit with 3 buttons. They're actually the weapons release buttons on a normal Hawk. So the top button's the red one press for on, 1 press for off. The middle one's white, and the bottom one with the little pinky there is blue.
The smoke pod fitted underneath is actually a modified gun pod. The red and blue dye is put in using a dye rig. The guys have to sit on the ground and listen to the pod filling up, and they actually hear a chattering of the valves in the pod, and that's when it's full.
We only have 1 minute of colour each, so I'll call
Colour on, go.
And then the right-hand side and the left-hand side both put on the colours for the red, white and blue.
There's always that little niggling feeling in the back of your head that they're going to come out with purple smoke where you put the red in with the blue.
The one thing that could get in our way is the weather, and really we can't do anything about that.
The weather for the BBMF is a major limitation. They are old aircraft, so hence the rain, the weather, the cloud, the wind are major factors in any operation that we do with these aircraft.
This aircraft we only take out in almost perfect conditions. A couple of years ago, unfortunately, I had to cancel being as part of the Queen's birthday fly past for that very reason. The weather just wasn't suitable. And we really must look after her. She's a 70-year-old aeroplane.
Timing's absolutely crucial, certainly for a long train of aircraft like in the Queen's birthday fly past.
Because we have very limited speed range of the aircraft we fly, we have to take into account the winds to modify our timings to make sure that we're over Buckingham Palace at the right time. You have helicopters at the front flying 90 knots, the Dakota flying 120 knots, the Lancaster 150, and then the Fast Air flying 270 and 300 knots. You can see that the formation is going to close up due to the different speeds of those aircraft. So once we're over Buckingham Palace, they are all 30 seconds apart. However, the routing then has to be done to allow the faster aircraft to pass the slower aircraft. And this is all done in the planning stages, so on the day what you see is transparent.
The way that we navigate through London, it's all really down to the boss.
Flying out the front of the Red Arrows formation is probably the easiest job in terms of formation, but that comes with its own responsibilities. I've got to make sure that we are on time and in the right position, and if I mess that up, I'm in trouble.
It's really down to him.
From about 40 miles away, you can start to see central London coming into your view, and there's a lot of features that we use to get ourselves lined up.
The first is the velodrome from the Olympic Park. Then as you keep going down, you can see the Barbican, and I can start to think I'm in the right place.
And at the final stages, of course, you've got the Mall. Although it's moving, there's so many people there, it's not stationary. And that is quite an odd sensation.
10 seconds. I've actually had the opportunity to be in the Lancaster as you fly down the Mall and over the top of Buckingham Palace. Something that will stay with you for life.
Stop the Victoria Memorial now.
Unfortunately, we get very few seconds to actually appreciate what we're doing at the time. We're all working so hard to make sure that the aircraft is in the right place at the right time that it's not really until afterwards we really recollect what we've just been doing. Buckingham Palace last year, I think I saw it for about 3 or 4 seconds.
Confirm we clear the palace and come right.
The only bit that I'm ever a little bit concerned about now that I'm the captain is the landing right at the end. The last 2 feet is probably the hardest bit, and you're certainly going to get a bit of ribbing from the rest of the crew if you bounce it. It's not until I hand the aircraft safely back over to the engineers do I actually finally relax.
The Queen's birthday fly past for us is the commemorative highlight of the year. So to be flying along in a Spitfire next to a Lancaster over the Palace and over the Queen is incredibly special, and we're very proud of being able to do that.
I think any flight past people like to see, but the Red Arrows are very special. When the red, white and blue comes on, the cheers come on, I can even hear it on the radio. It really gets the British public, I think, feeling quite patriotic. It's an amazing feeling, lovely to be part of.